As the scene unfolds, the boy articulated that he often sees the same dream these days. It's a dream about him setting foot in that world, a world where Japan does not exist. It's just a dream, yet it feels so real that it's far too strange to be reality. And there he's attained a variety of knowledge. However, books, TV, internet, and games, as there's one game that he was addicted to, *Resistance Noah*, *Resistance Noah*, commonly known as *Resist Noah*, where the protagonist Alex is the main character of an RPG commanding the Revolutionary Army into battle. Further, he mentioned that it's a Royal Road story setting where one has to defeat the demon lord who is aiming to conquer the world with the skill of monster creation. However, the difficulty level was so hard that it was considered a death game, and even in his dream, he had to repeatedly play to clear the game. Then a girl shouted that they, the Revolutionary Army, will deliver the holy judgment. After that, the boy articulated that the prologue starts with the protagonist's dialogue. Eventually, the girl asserted that their motherland vengeance, she, Alexander Rhodonite, shall make him pay back in full. Hearing this, he gets confused. Further, staring at her, he mentioned that line she said and the brave figure of her leading the army. She was the main character of *Resist Noah*, Alex herself, and this scene he's seen it in his dreams so many times. So no doubt this exactly matches that dialogue, the *Resist Noah* dialogue. However, he thought, what does this mean, as wasn't it just a ridiculous dream? And if this Alex is that *Resist Noah* Alex, then the one who is facing Alex now is cutting him off. Alex shouted, "Prepare yourself, Demon Emperor Menace." After hearing her, Menace articulated that Demon Emperor Menace Noah, he's *Resist Noah*'s last boss's name, and that's his name, and instantly after hearing the name, found it hard to believe, but apparently he has become the last boss of this world. Then Alex shouted while attacking Sword Skill Level 1, Hard Splash, and Menace contemplated that he had seen this attack many times, then quoted, "Too slow," and dodged her attack. After that, Menace asserted not to get over herself too much as she's in the presence of the Demon Emperor and threw her away. Then he articulated that there's no challenge in blocking an attack when he already knows where it's coming from. However, their guard questioned Alex if she was okay, and another guard quoted, "Do not rush in alone like that, as that's a bad habit," and she apologized to them. Further, Menace articulated that it would have been easier if she gave up after that. So he guessed, even in despair, refusing to give in is one of the protagonist's, Alex's, traits. And to be honest, he really wants to reorganize his thoughts alone with what's going on now and don't really care for the Revolutionary Army. Eventually, he prolonged that thanks to the discovery of that shocking fact as he's still confused with what's. However, based on the information from his dream, that Alex's level is still 5 at this point, and both her skills and equipment are still at a beginner level. On the other hand, Menace mentioned that he's supposedly being the last boss of this game as *Resist Noah*, a game that is also considered to be a death game where defeating him was the orthodox challenge to complete the game and him, who was considered the strongest last boss in RPG history. So he continued that it's impossible for the current Alex to close this power gap now. After all, the result of this battle is the Revolutionary Army was wiped out with Alex being the sole exception, a completely defeated event. Meanwhile, Menace guessed that it can't be helped as he should try to drive them away with suitable means. Then Menace chanted, "Golden Knight," and stated to all of them there's not 1 in a million chance of them being victorious here, so give up and leave. Seeing this, guard quotes fearfully that there are too many monsters along the corridor. Then another guard asked if this the power of the monster creation skill, and Menace contemplated that they are reacting well. But then Alex shouted that she will not yield, and if she doesn't end his regime here, then there will be no hope left in this world. So all mages into formation and fire at will, then chanted while attacking water and lightning magic. After that, Menace contemplated that the difference in power is so obvious, yet they won't back off, although they have prepared these tactics just to kill him. Then he quoted that they really want him dead. Further, he continued that rather than pissing him off, it's somehow depressing as they have been working so hard up to now just to protect their country. Then he described that the Noel Empire that's under his regime was surrounded by enemies from all sides, and every single day they are under attack by them. Even so, within the empire, there were so many internal conflicts and innocent people had lost their lives because of it. However, thanks to his special skill in monster creation, he forcibly united the country and completely eradicated their enemies by subjugating them under his reign. He also guessed that Alex's former country was also one of those countries. But he's doing all of this to protect the Empire, and while trying his best to protect them, the number of his enemies grew, and now it's a coup d'etat. Further, Menace articulated that he's pretty sure he saw it in his dreams. The setting here was the internal ministries of the Empire siding with the Revolutionary Army, and it was his prime minister who led Alex and the rest into the palace, while the rest of the Empire's soldiers let them slit through their eyes. Then, in shock, he prolonged that what has happened in the game must also have occurred within this world, and quoted that it seems like it had been a long time since he was betrayed, so that's why in the game the demon Emperor Menace had fallen into such despite aimed towards humanity. Further, Menace mentioned that betrayed and killed by people that he tried so desperately to protect. Then one of the guards started shouting that it's working as they can win this, and Alex commanded everyone not to let their guard down until the end, so only their magic with all MP. However, Menace contemplated that this level of attack hardly hurt him, but the physiological damage was traumatic, and even so, it's still impossible for him to lose, as his victory will not waver in this battle. Suddenly he articulated, wait a second, if everything's the same as the game's setting, then in this battle until the protagonist defeats him, she will continue to challenge again and again until she slays him with her very own hand. So Menace longed that the last boss of this game is destined to be defeated by the protagonist. In that case, what if he were to kill her now? Will he be able to avoid that, as he can erase the army in one fell swoop, and it's easy to kill Alex in her current state. And if Menace kills her now, then he can leave, and nothing will be taken from him. As soon as he was just about to snap, but stopped and stated to wait that he doesn't know about, as the story may change in the end. A second or third protagonist can simply appear, and the last boss is in existence who is hated by all of humanity, and who is wanted dead by all. Besides, even if the protagonist doesn't kill him, what does that leave him with? But he doesn't care anymore, as if this continues, no one will be happy, and nothing will be saved. Further, he mentioned in that case that Demon Emperor Menace should just die, and he is sure that can be a happy ending for everyone. Then he chanted release magic level 3 Shadow Mist, and everyone shouting smokescreen, whereas Alex quoted such a cowardly. After that, charging at him, Alex asked the Demon Emperor, are you running away? As she won't let him, and Alex inserted her sword into his chest. While quoting take this, then blood started coming out from Menace's mouth, as he asserted that to think he would be killed here. Then he fell on the ground. Seeing him, Alex questioned if he was dead. And did they win? Then she shouted that the Demon Emperor Menace has been defeated by Alexandra Rhodonite, so it's a victory for the Revolutionary Army. After that, all the guards happily asserted that they defeated the Demon Emperor, and with this, the world was saved. Looking at them, Menace stated it's an early happy ending, as the corpse is a level 1 monster that he created with his creation. Then he swapped it for himself in the magical smokescreen and used the transparency skill of the winged demon dog. However, Menace quoted that it looks like he managed to fool them nicely, though he was worried about Alex's reaction. But anyway, removing his mask, he prolonged that the Demon Emperor is now dead, and the current him is not the Demon Emperor anymore, as he's just Menace. Further, Menace stated that he won't have his life targeted, nor will be hated as he just Menace now. So let's go, Glacia Labolas, they have no business being here anymore, and so he decided to quit being the last boss. Later, while trying the dress, Menace quoted this should be good enough, and the girls drooling over him asserted it looks wonderful on him, sir. However, he articulated that as the Demon Lord, not only does he have power but good looks as well, and as the last boss, his design is fancy and looks great no matter what he wears, although standing out too much is not a good thing. Then a girl stated try on a similar one. Then Menace quoted shopkeeper he will buy this cloak as well and hesitantly agreed, while stating that his total for today comes out to be 1,000 silver coins. Hearing this, he thought this is the first time he bought something himself, and can't tell if that a lot or a little as finance were always left to the officials. But in his dreams, some journal wrote that 1 silver coin is about 100 yen. TLN is equal to 100 GOIP is about 1 USD, so either way, he doesn't know the market value, so he really can't tell if it's expensive or cheap. Then Menace mentioned while giving her a pouch of coins, let's start off with this much. Then the girl gets surprised and hesitantly mentions, sir, this is an issue. So Menace questioned, is it not enough? Then put another pouch of coin, and she stated that's not it as it's way too much, and 1 large gold coin can get him 10 sets of clothes and cloaks. Further, he contemplated that it seems like even the small coin can be worth a lot. then stated she got him all the clothes and underwear he can buy, and she accepted it. Later, the shopkeeper asserted that it was the change for the gold coins, then Menace expressed thanks for helping out. After that, he noted the Shadow Hand put these away from him, and articulated that the Shadow Hand is known as the demon that drags humans into the shadow world, as if he combined it with the Shadow Hide skill, then it can be used as storage, so letting it hide in his own shadow can be very useful. Their girls confusingly questioned where's the stuff, and Menace responded that he put it in his shadow bag, so don't worry. After heading out from the shop, he mentioned that it was his first time, so he ended up buying a lot but got a good deal on everything. Seeing the crowd, Menace prolonged that the imperial city of Gothel as the city overlooked by a castle, and it's strange to find himself in this city as the ending of Resist No is as crowded as expected. But suddenly he saw his poster where the men stated happily that Demon Lord Menace is dead. After hearing this, Menace articulated that it's kinda sad to see how people are so happy over his death, but whatever. He did quit being the final boss to seek a life of freedom and must enjoy this new life to the full. Suddenly, Menace sniffed something. While turning his head, he shouted, "Shopkeeper." He'll have one of those sparkle-cute, mega-delicious strawberry crepes. Everyone was staring at him. Then Shopkeeper responded, "Strawberry crepe coming right up." Looking at his strawberry crepe, Menace contemplated that he has seen it in his dream before and never had food from a food stall, but as soon as he tasted it, Menace shouted, "This cooking. Get the chef." Then Shopkeeper questioned, "He was the one who made it. Is there any problem?" Then Menace responded, "There are many problems. What is with this beautiful flavor? It's very well made." While giving him the gold coins pouch, Menace asserted he's piqued his interest, so he'll buy another 100 crepes. Meanwhile, eating crepes, he articulated, "A second big purchase in one day. Shopping is so much fun. I should have quit a long time ago." Then he told Glacia Labolas to have a bite too. Seeing her eating, he quoted, "Seems like she enjoys it too." The shopkeeper questioned and frightened. The creep just disappeared into the void. Menace stated not to worry as it happens all the time. However, Menace thanked the shopkeeper for these extra crepes as he applauded him for his generosity. Then the man quoted, "He's sure a stranger man, sir." While eating crepes, Menace questioned, "What's with the noise of an enemy attack?" Then the man stated, "Look, not quite as the hero has returned from war." Eventually, everyone cheering and thanking the Revolutionary Army. Then Menace contemplated the triumphant return of the Revolutionary Army, and in the game, everyone in the army was killed except Alex, but his death changed the story. Then he mentioned that the Revolutionary Army is quite popular, and the man agreed while asserting that they saved them from Demon Lord Menace's tyrannical rule, especially the hero. And here comes the hero, Alexandra Sama. Staring at her, Menace articulated that a mysterious smile that attracts people, but why then, even though she's smiling, he can see sadness in her eyes. While shaking his head, he mentioned that it's none of his business. Suddenly, he saw something or someone in the clock tower and quoted, "An assassin." Looking at her, Menace prolonged that he thinks he's being sneaky, but it's so obvious that assassin is probably after Alex. Further, he mentioned that a conspiracy by another nation on the Noack Empire. Are they trying to vacate the throne, as he can think of many reasons why someone would want to kill Alex? And it seems like she hasn't noticed yet, or rather it seems like no one else has noticed it except for him. Wearing his cap, he started running toward him. But suddenly he saw a gleam and articulated that a magic circle's light, most likely sniper magic, as considering the level needed for sniper magic and the assassin's level must be at least around 15, so with Alex's current level, if she gets hit then she could instantly die. Then he immediately went toward Alex and stand in front of her. Looking at him, people shouted, "What's that? Isn't that dangerous?" And Alex nervously asked, "Who is he?" But Menace's only focus was the arrow which is coming toward them. As soon as that arrow reached to them, Menace crushed it while contemplating that he was being careful, but that did damage, as the assassin must be some small fry, but how dare a measly side character try to destroy the happy ending that he created. While chuckling, Menace quoted, "He's playing with him." Then mentioned that he decided to not kill Alex and decided to entrust the Empire's fate to her, and by killing her he would be trampling over his decision. And then he dangerously noted that he's got some nerves, so it's game over for him. But soon coming out from his thoughts, everyone started running away, and Menace asserted that he got carried away as it looks like he made too much of a commotion, but it should be fine though. After that again, Menace articulated that quit being the last boss so he can live a free life, as there is no reason to let his emotion loose in a place like this, so he will destroy everything that gets in his way. Eventually Menace shouted, "It's lunchtime, Glacia Lobolas." Then she roared and flew toward that sniper. That man stated the wind, and looking at the Glacia, he shouted, "What is that?" But before he could do something, she killed him. However, Menace contemplated that he doesn't think the assassin is going to be an issue anymore, so he better get the hell out of here too. Suddenly, Alex nervously questioned, "What just happened and who is he?" Staring at her, he contemplated that inexperienced, weak, unreliable as this and the game Alex are completely different. She has low-leveled, no comrades to rely on and unable to grow mentality, but in the original game, she becomes the new ruler of the Noahic Empire. However, he continued that if he leaves Alex in her current state, then she'll be assassinated instantly. Menace started moving toward her, but the guard shouted, "Step away from Alexander Sama." She requested him not to move. But he held her shoulder while stating, "Good luck, protagonist." She got confused. Then, moving away, Menace mentioned, "No matter how inexperienced, how weak, and how unreliable the protagonist Alex is meant to be emperor, she's the complete opposite of him." Further, he prolonged that she's kind-hearted, has a strong sense of justice, and is loved by everyone. He's the bad guy here as he only knows how to rule people with fear and despair and doesn't know another way. The harder he tries, the further into despair this country would fall into. If Menace was emperor, then he wouldn't be able to protect the country. That's why he's leaving it all to her. Then Alex shouted, "They're not done. Wait," and shouted to the guard, "Don't let that man get away," and surround him. Eventually, Menace mentioned lowering their head as they are in his presence, and they all did. After that, he raised his hand while asserting he bid her good day and disappeared. Then Alex quoted, "He disappeared? Look for him. He should still be around here." While holding her paw, Menace thanked Glacia Lobolas. Then he sat on her back while mentioning that Alex should be fine. Passing her, he put a Shadow Knight in her shadow. That knight is rank A, so that should be plenty enough to protect her. With this, he won't have any lingering regret in the city. Glancing at the city, Menace articulates that even though he's been kicked out from his birthplace, he feels as if a burden has been lifted from his shoulder. At last he's truly free. Then he shouted, "Let's go, Glacia Lobolas," and articulated that the story of Alex comes to an end here and the story of Menace starts. He's not sure what's to come, but this world is his game. No matter what happens, he will play it out to the fullest. So he quoted, "Let the games begin." In the next scene, they soon landed in the forest. Then Menace asserted, while patting her, she did good and thanked Glacia Lobolas, then staring at her. Furthermore, he articulated that even for an S-ranked monster, it must be tough to fly while using the invisibility skill. But thanks to her, they've arrived at their destination as the northern of the Noahic Empire. However, the magical cannibal forest, as the name implies, this place is teeming with cannibal monsters. He came here to this forest for one reason, and it is for the sake of a slow life. As Menace mentioned while thinking back, ever since he became emperor at age 10 and working his ass off and never had time for a break, he always had to keep his eye out for assassins. That's why he always longed for allies unbordered by politics, social status, or revolutions, a slow life. Then Menace shouted that he will leave a life of freedom, Glacia Lobolas, and then articulated that since people rarely come to this forest, he should be able to live out his second life peacefully here. So he quoted that once decided the first step was to build a base, then he chanted level 9 black magic gravity. Eventually, Menace prolonged that gravity makes it so that an opponent isn't able to make an action and reduce their speed by half until the next turn, as Resist knows most powerful cheat magic. Also, it's useful for when we have a moment where he wants to flatten the surrounding land. After that, he contemplated thanks to that they would have a nice looking garden as floral accents may work well, and that's the last boss's way of life. Then next is the house. Demonic creation if any monster can be created from this book by using up some magic power, and this book contains every monster he has defeated and created before. Meanwhile, snapping his finger, he noted the creation of a mimic house as it's a house that eats people and eats anyone who wanders into the house. Also, it has a properly furnished interior and it's a bit cramped though. However, Menace thought that he is not looking for the bare essential and looking for a comfortable second life, without worries as a shack of this won't to do. While going through the book, he asserted if that's the case, what if he enhances the mimic house? Eventually, he articulated that the demonic creation skill consists of two elements. The first is the ability to create demons from nothing creation, and the second is the ability to fuse two demons into a new demon synthesis. After that, by combining two demons, he can create a new type of demon that can fit his needs. While snapping his finger, he made synthesis Mimic House X Mimic House, where it mentioned that it's a mansion that eats people, lures humans in, then trap and eat them. Its rank is B and skills are mimicry, lure, confined, and dissolve. Staring at the house, Menes asserted that it should be big enough for now and then some finishing touches, and he created tea ingredients A and B. While collecting them, he articulated with his own hands his successfully made tea. Then sitting in the chair, Menes mentioned while sipping the tea that it's the perfect slow life, and then contemplating free time with nothing to do. This is the free and easy life he dreams of. Also, a slow life is too easy for a genius like him. After a while, Menes quotes that he's bored, then contemplates this is not quite what he was expecting. Maybe it's because he's been overworked ever since he was a child, but don't know what to do with his free time. Also can't relax since he's free, so why don't he pay a visit to his subordinates? The 7-demon lord can try and destroy the human race. However, denying his idea, Menes prolonging that he doesn't think either will work and doesn't really like meeting up with colleagues outside of work, and eradicating all of mankind is too easy. While face-palming himself, he stated that ain't it chief, and wasn't it was supposed to turn out as he thought a slow life was supposed to be more fun than this, but there's nothing to do, and he's just talking to himself here and right now. It's super depressing. Moreover, Menes stood up while mentioning that he can't continue doing this, and finally quit being the final boss. He must have a fun, not final life. Day 1 he stopped living a slow life. Later a woman asserted welcome to the city of Arsh's Adventurer Guild, as she will start the registration process immediately. Then Menes responded he is counting on her, then thought being an adventurer seems a lot more fun than living a slow life by himself, and can visit the places he saw in his dream, also get to fight to the death with strong-looking monster. Going through his profile, the woman asserted the 20-year-old occupation is a demon user, as these documents he submitted, but he asked isn't it a wonderful profile, and she questioned if what he'd written is true. However, he nervously agreed. Then she stated he's clearly shaking though, and he responded that it's all true, he's Maddie and also a demon user. Even he brought a real demon and showed her Glaciolabolas. Looking at her, the woman mentioned what a cute puppy. Then Menes stated her name is Glassa and she can pet her. While patting her, the woman expressed that she's so small yet soft. Suddenly, that woman shouted, wait, that's not it, as there's not really a problem with the paperwork, but the demon user occupation, to put it bluntly, it is an unfavorable role. Furthermore, she explained that demons tend to drag down the party instead, and only low-level demons can be summoned, so they aren't very useful, so for these reasons they are pretty useless, and everyone knows that. Hearing her, Menes nervously responded that he's sure there are some skilled demon users out there like Demon Lord Menes. Then she asserted that as an exception, Demon Lord Menes was basically a demon himself. However, seeing his confused face, she continued that a big reason why demon users are given the cold shoulder is because it's bad luck to be like Demon Lord Menes. That's why, at least she's pretty sure. But then, the woman mentioned that she'll put down the men user for now, but in the future, she recommended switching his profession to a mage or swordsman. After all, there is no future for a demon user. On the other hand, Menes contemplated that he's getting a lot of flack for this and responded he appreciated the advice. Then she mentioned that he will start as a G-rank apprentice, as G-rank adventurers are not eligible to enter certain magical areas, such as the Cannibal Forest. If he does so, make sure he is accompanied by A-rank adventurers or higher. Eventually, he guessed going solo right off the bat is a no-go, and then she responded he should always keep safety in mind, as they encourage their G-rank apprentice to work in a party. So she recommended going with that tutorial sister trio party, as they give priority to newcomers and are very good at teaching the basics. Further, while looking at the picture, he contemplated that the tutorial sisters trio, as they give LX combat and adventuring tips early on in the story. As the name implies, they help out beginners, but while turning his head, he mentioned rejected, as the three sisters are too weak and they don't have any particularly unique skills, so there is no point in joining. Hearing him, the woman asked when did he become the trainer. But he thought if he's going to pair up with someone who has a unique skill, it will be more fun. Now to look for the right person, they all look like mass-produced NPCs, as this is an early game town, so he guesses he'll be adventuring with low-rank Golan soldiers. Suddenly, an adventurer mentioned, look at that, are they for real? Another one asserted that she heard they're going solo into the Cannibal Forest. Then an adventurer whispered, stop staring so much, she doesn't want to get caught. Staring at her, Menes thought she was some famous adventurer, but immediately got surprised and shouted, aren't you Maiko Rin? Then he spun around her while stating, it's the real Maiko Rin. It's actually 360 degrees of her. Now everyone was staring at him while mentioning, "What's with this guy?" Menace contemplated that it reminds him of the beginning of the story. She was in this town too. At first she was very quiet and only said a few words. Her lines are different, but the equipment, those tsundere-like features, one of the main characters of *Resist no *, so there's no doubt about it, Pink Heart Mikorin. Furthermore, he prolonged, she's a late bloomer, and her unique skill is custom change, as the versatility of the skill allows her to adapt to any unfamiliar environment. She's one of the third strongest characters in *Resist no *. Although he didn't really need her, he still put her in his party. He never thought the day he would actually get to see Mikorin would actually come, and this level of excitement is dangerous, so fate must have brought them together. After that, Menace noted he has decided and is going on an adventure with Mikorin. Hearing this, she shouted, "What's going on? Why would she go with him? What is Mikorin, anyways?" Then he responded, "Her nickname, Mikorin, is still cute, even when she's mad, and such a beautiful character design." But again she shouted, "Don't go around calling her strange nicknames." Then Menace smiled while thinking, surprisingly not as annoyed as one would expect. She is trying to play it cool but is actually a lonely person who's starved for human interaction. Also, she has a mother complex. Immediately, the receptionist asserted to hold on to Maddie-san, what in the world he is doing, as Mikoru-san is a C-rank veteran adventurer, and she's a powerful person who managed to reach level 10. Then she requested him to stop being disrespectful. Hearing this, he thought no matter how early game this town is, that's way too low, and he's a bit worried. Then Mikoru asserted that she must become stronger and doesn't have time for other people, especially newbies. While putting his finger on her mouth, he stated to skip too much dialogue and, more importantly, the receptionist. Then she asked what she called Mikorin, and the receptionist responded that she called her by her proper name, Mikoru. Just then, Mikoru shouted, "Stop putting your hand on my mouth. He got Mikorin's name wrong." Then the receptionist mentioned, "That's not possible, as it says so in the Adventurers Guild's register, Mikoru Leonhardt, so there's no mistake." And Menace asked, "What the heck is she saying? Her name is Mikorin Pinkheart." But before he could complete his word, Mikoru put her hand on his mouth, while stating she has changed her mind and will form a party with him. Hearing this, everyone was confused. After that, Menace articulates day one of the life of an adventurer. He has formed a party with Mikorin. Then, while walking in the forest, she stated, "Don't get the wrong idea, we're not an official party, and I'm only making you my apprentice because of how persistent you are." However, Menace responded he will accept her lesson. While looking here and there, Mikorin questioned why she has to apprentice such an arrogant person. He asked more importantly how far they are going, as they have already entered the cannibal forest. Unexpectedly, she pointed her equipment in front of his face and asked who is he really and how does he know her real name. Then Menace questioned, do he have to say, as that's not quite it, and contemplated that even if he told her that he found out about it in a dream, she probably won't believe him. Eventually, moving toward him, she stated everything he knows about her, spill it. Then he thought, such a selfish princess, but he guesses this much is fine, and he doesn't have a reason to hide it. Plus, it's not like it's going to hurt him to do so. Menace stated, for starters, her name is Mikorin Pinkheart, and she is the only princess of the Pinkheart Kingdom. She ran away after a dispute with her mother about the Dragon King Nidhogger. Hearing him, Mikoru responded, if he knows that much, then no wonder the kingdom must have sent him here. He stated, her age is 16, level is 11, and attribute is light. Also, her unique skill is custom change, her height is 5 feet, and her weight is 90 elves. Her 3 sizes from top to bottom are 77, 53, and 75 stem. Firstly, she got confused by him, but he prolonged that her birthday is March 5th. She likes her mom and flowers. Favorite foods are chocolate bread and ham pudding. But she doesn't like working with others because having people see her unique skill is embarrassing, and her dream is to fill the world with flowers. Cutting him off, Mikoru shouted for him to wait a second, as this is messed up. Then Menace questioned, did he get something wrong? Instantly, Mikoru shouted that she's saying it's wrong because there's nothing wrong about her weight and 3 sizes, and how did he know that much? Then he responded, it's in the official guidebook, and she asked, even in the publication, as that's not possible because there was some top-secret info only she knows about. Just then, he questioned if she meant the World Flower Garden project, but Mikoru asserted that she doesn't plan on returning to the kingdom anytime soon, and there's no point in trying to bring her back. However, Menace responded that he wasn't trying to bring her back. He contemplated that even if they did go to Pink Heart Elven Kingdom, there wouldn't be anything to do except sightseeing, something as a hobby to do after retirement. So, Maikoru questioned what he wanted. While looking at the flower, Menes quoted that he didn't want anything and just wanted to be an adventurer as something as a hobby to do after retirement. Meanwhile, picking the flower and putting it in her hair, he mentioned that in the meantime, he hoped to do some apprenticeship training with Maikorin and asked if she could do that for him, senpai. Hearing him, Maikoru got frustrated and quoted that she'll find out his true identity, so let's get this training over with. Even though she got stuck with him by chance, she'll make sure to take good care of him. After that, Menes shouted, "Excellent mindset, so let's see what she can do." Then she questioned again why he is so arrogant and whispered to herself that he is gone mad. Further, while walking, he stated, "By the way, where are all the monsters? Are they gonna fight?" Then she responded, "They're not doing any fighting today. We're here to collect some medicinal herbs this time." Then Menes thought that even he can't make herbs out of nothing, but he was sure that one of his 7 demon lord subordinates can do it. Maikoru asserted that even if it was a kill request, it's a general rule to avoid any unnecessary fights, so he asked why not just try to rush into every battle she can. He thought the main protagonist, Alex, always did that. Then she responded, "That's something an idiot would do. If he did that, he would run out of time, energy, and materials before even getting to the monster he's supposed to kill, so it's better to just hunt a demon every few days." Just then, Menes asked her how she levels up, and she questioned, "What's that?" Then he stated normally her level increases when she defeated monsters, and Maikoru mentioned that level is a measure of his skill, and it naturally increases with training and experience. He doesn't even know that much. Further, she quoted that if the level was about defeating monsters, how would the supports get levels? Then he asked, "Doesn't the X get distributed evenly when fighting in a party?" She questioned, "What the heck? What kind of theory is that?" Then Menes stated that he's not really sure either. After that, he contemplated whether she can level up by training, but it's not very efficient as if it is similar to the game. It should be easier to raise their level by killing monsters. But here, he guessed she shouldn't focus only on them, so what is considered common knowledge here? However, Maikoru asserted that she doesn't know what he's on but tries to avoid battle with monsters, and in any case, his small demon familiar doesn't seem like it can do much except get them clapped. Then Menes responded, "Don't underestimate her, as Glazia is quite capable, and she's mastered asterisk for asterisk." But Maikoru asserted, "Stop showing off your pet, we're almost at the herb growing spot." Eventually he questioned, "What kind of herbs are they looking for anyway?" Then she responded, "A herb with white flowers called moly grass, as they only grow in the sunny areas of the magical forest. It's easier to see for himself as they should be just up ahead." But before he could ask something, she put her hand on his mouth while ascertaining what the heck is this, as it's impossible. However, seeing the mansion, Maikoru shouted, "What's with this creepy mansion? It wasn't here yesterday." Then nervously Menes thought, the mimic house he just built. What a strange discovery. In the next scene, while staring at the house, Menes contemplated that he didn't expect it to be found so soon, even though it's surrounded by monsters. Building this close to the city for the sake of convenience was a mistake. He thought this moly grass was just a weed, so he stepped on it without thinking. Suddenly, Maikoru started coughing, and he asked if she was fine. "What's wrong?" he inquired. She responded, being next to such a dense concentration of mana. He questioned if it was really that dense, and she agreed, mentioning that the area was releasing a dangerous amount of it. He responded, "That's right," and now that she mentioned it, it is quite dense, he thought. Maikoru stated that even inside a demon forest, this level of mana is impossible, as a very powerful demon must have taken residence here. Menes thought he was the one who started living. As for the source of the mana, he remembered releasing a crap ton while he was relaxing at home, just letting go of all his ambitions that he kept when in front of others. However, Maikoru mentioned that with this, it's very much possible that one of the 7 demon lords is here, as the only people capable of making something like this happen are the 7 demon lords. She couldn't think of anyone else beside the 7 demons under Menes' direct control. Hearing her, Menes stated that he's pretty sure that's not it. Then Maikoru responded that he might not believe her, but any of the 7 demon lords has enough power to destroy a country single-handedly, and some estimate that their rank is greater than B. He questioned, "Aren't all of the 7 demon lords rank SS?" She asserted that there is no such thing as a rank SS demon. Menes quoted, "Doesn't it go a rank, S rank, and then SS rank?" Mikuru questioned, "Why is rank S after A and why is SS after S?" He responded, "I'm not really sure either." Eventually, Mikuru asserted that if a demon lord really is here, then the city of Arsh is endangered, and he knows that Demon Lord Menace was killed, so the 7 demon lords must be planning their revenge on this country. After thinking, she stated to wait, as if that was true, then it's not just this country, and if that was the case, this could affect all of humanity. Hearing her, Menace contemplated that her false accusation has no end, and it's too late to do something like that, as that was his house all along. Then Mikuru quoted that they need to report this to the guild as soon as possible, and the training's cancelled, so be careful, Maddie, and follow her. But before she could say something, the monster tree came in front of them, and Mikuru shouted that they are supposed to rarely leave their habitat, so why the heck is one here? There Menace thought he was the one who made it and wanted to drink tea, but as soon as the tree tried to attack her, Menace held her in his arm, and looking at it, Menace asserted, "This thing's on rampage," then asked her if she was fine, and she approved. After that, he articulated that kind of attitude towards its creator. It's gone crazy, but probably because the sugar mush he also make can have psychedelic effects and cause psychological abnormalities, and if monsters get hit, they become ferocious and attack nearby humans. Eventually, Menace mentioned, "Looks like we got no choice, as it's a pain in the ass, and have to kill it." Hearing him, Mikuru shouted, "If you're crazy, what are you thinking? Fight with this many, and a Trent is a rank C monster, so there's no way a human can win." Then he responded, "C rank is just a small fry." As soon as she heard him, Mikuru shouted, "You need to be at least level 20 for this stuff, and there are only a handful of level 20 humans in the world." After that, he remembered that the receptionist mentioned that Mikuru-san is a C-rank veteran adventurer, and she's a powerful person who managed to reach level 10. Lately, Mikuru stated that it's better to just hunt the demon every few days instead. Moreover, Menace thought that the people of this world are low level, but he was wrong. The humans of this world are much weaker than what he expected. And it's not that surprising that he thinks the people of this world don't hunt demons. Also, they don't know how to level up properly. Furthermore, he prolonged that in the game, Demon Menace spread demons all around the world, but that's not the case because the encounters with demons must be low. And when he thinks back, Alex started at level 5 and was trained in martial arts, so all the other characters that joined also started between level 5 and 10. Suddenly, Mikuru voiced Maddie as a Trent and Swan of sword plants, and they're not even level 20 yet, so there is no way they can win this fight, and that's why she'll use her magic to hold them off so he can get out of from here. Then Menace mentioned that she doesn't need to do it, but she denied, saying that it's fine, and if they don't do something, then both of them will die, and if that's the case, at least one of them should get to live, so not to worry, as she doesn't plan on dying just yet, and a Trent may be strong, but it's slow, so she will find a way to escape afterward. Staring at her, Menace contemplated that it's not gonna work. She knows that too, and mentioned she doesn't know him that much, so he guessed. But cutting him off, Mikuru responded she guessed not. But she's the one who decided to team up with him, that's why she'll protect him, so run. After that, she shouted, "Light magic lightning wall," but in her shock, that Trent broke her magic wall, and she contemplated how it is this strong. But while holding it, Menace quoted, "Good grief, and don't go rushing to her death like that." Then he thought that there are too many humans just like Alex, that rushing in but too weak to take on a strong opponent, as it is a really dangerous thing, but that kind of spirit isn't bad. Just then, Mikuru questioned how did he stop that and immediately shouted by didn't he run away. Then Menace apologized that he'd already decided in his command menu as there is no flee option, and for him running away is the same as losing, so attacking his creator she must be disciplined, and other than to the protagonist he'll take care of this himself. Eventually, Trent immediately threw an attack on him, and Mikuru shouted, "Maddie, watch out." But standing there, he chanted while closing his eyes that skill limitation removal, then opened it as he stated frozen gaze. Seeing this, Mikuru questioned in shock that it stopped, and Menace agreed that he stopped time for him, then contemplated that a skill can freeze an enemy for 60 seconds by frozen gaze, as this is a skill from the clock snake demon. By using his demonic creation skill, he's his body with that of another demon, and usually use his seal to keep his human form, as it helps to suppress the demonic power within. But by temporarily breaking the seal, he can use the skill of the demons inside his body, and if he completely break the seal, then Menace will turn into his second form. But he don't need that for this kind of small fry. After that, Menace quoted, "Now it's about time he put an end to this," enchanted skill limitation removal that scythe, as he articulated that it's a skill from Reaper's Death Scythe, and it passes through flash and harvests only the soul and the scythe of instant that. Also, it's a skill with an extremely low hit rate, but when they are frozen it always hits, so the single strike spells certain that, and game over. On the other hand, Mikora stated in shock what was that skill-less rank with one hit. Suddenly a small mush started running toward her for attacking, then he voiced Glacia, and she transformed herself into a demon dag and killed it with her paw. After that, while patting her, he stated Glacia nice job as she has his thanks. Then turning his head toward he questioned Mikorin, what's wrong? And she nervously responded that how did puppy do that, and how are they this strong? Listening to her means contemplating that isn't good, as it seems like he went a bit overboard, but thought he had it pretty well under control, and now how should we explain to her? Then he assured Mikorin to calm down as this is just. But unexpectedly, the wind started blowing very strongly, and she asked what time it was, and after that she immediately fell unconscious. Then Means mentioned a huge wave of mana. However, he guessed it's a good thing Mikorin passed out instantly, and if she had been exposed to this level of mana, while conscious, then her mind might have completely collapsed, and they probably sensed his mana as something bad is coming toward them. Further, Means quoted that all the time when Mikorin was here too they needed to get out of here, but suddenly someone voiced after all he's here and welcome his lord. In the next scene, introduced himself as Noah Menace, and one day he realized that this world was the same world as Resistance Noah, as he was sick and tired of impending doom that was always headed his way, so he left the throne and became the farmer. Further, he articulated that after becoming an adventurer in order to search for a fun second life, he encountered his Resist Noah waifu, Mikorin. After going to the cannibal forest under the presence of training, they were attacked by a T-Trent and other demon, but he was able to defeat the monsters without any trouble. But after a moment of relief, a massive wave of magical power knocked out Mikorin. However, the identity of the person who possessed such a magic power Menace shouted, "It's him." Then he asserted that he detected a magical force while patrolling his area, so decided to drop by and say his greeting, and Menace stated good work, while contemplating that this is bad and a worst-case scenario as the last one he wanted to meet his direct supervision subordinate, the fifth seat of the seven demon lords, Lord of Trees, Ufur. Eventually, Menace articulated that he is the lord of all plant-based demons and is in charge of protecting the forest around the Noahic Empire. Also, he is the incarnation of Yggdrasil embodied on the surface due to the will of the stars. He is the highest rank possible, SS rank, and his power cannot even be compared to the likes of the low-ranking T-Trents, and one of the strongest characters in all of Resist Noah. So Ufur asserted, what is he doing in a place like this with a human like that, what is he up to? And Menace thought that is really the worst case, as he saw him playing around with an underage girl in private, and he stated Ufur got the wrong idea here, as it's not what he thinks. Moreover, Ufur responded that he understands everything even without hearing it from his mouth as he's talking to him, and selecting the right creatures to wash away the evil human race that has infested this planet, so this must be for a noble cause. Then Ufur questioned if there is anything he can help him with, as if Menace like then he could turn a town or two into a forest right now, so he requested do not hesitate for something. Hearing him, Menace contemplating that is that another reason why he wanted anyone but him to find them, as this guy worships him too much, and he's not doing a noble deed, and not even doing his job. Further, he articulated that most of the seven demon lords, including Ufur, were demons he created from scratch using his demonic creation skill, since he's their creator and essentially a god to Ufur and others. After that, Menace mentioned there is no need, as that's not why he's here, and turning a few towns into forests, due to a misunderstanding on his part, is a bit much. Then confusingly Ufur questioned what else could he be here for, while turning his head. Menace thought that he needs to think of some excuse about that. Immediately, Menace asserted that he is here to tell him that Heave stopped and decided to quit being the emperor. Then Ufur shouted, why, as even though Heave devoted so much of his heart and soul to the empire, and he responded that the revolutionary army kinda staged a coup d'etat and kinda thought to himself that he don't really care anymore. Just then, Ufur mentioned that those police humans, and if it wasn't for his lord, his country would have already been wiped off the map. After all, it looks like they must eradicate those inferior life forms. Looking at him, Menace contemplated nervously, this isn't just a country that in trouble, it's all of humanity. But although Ufur ranks 5th among the 7 demon lords in regards to pure combatability with a proper application of his plant manipulation skill, he could cause a global spike infections, and in addition, he could simply just kill all of humanity's crops, so one could say he is the best when it comes to wiping out all of humanity, but most of the human in this world are low, and at this rate, the human race really could be wiped out. Then immediately voice Euphor to relax as he chose to stop being the emperor as he just got tired of it and wanted to change careers, but Euphor quoted die, disappear, wither away, perish, and take revenge on all his lord's enemies, every last one die. However, Menes contemplated that is what happens when they worship him too much, and it looks like he has no choice, so he voiced Euphor the fifth seat, Lord of Trees, this is an order, cease, and immediately stopped in shock. Eventually, he stated that don't get the wrong idea here, as he may not be the emperor anymore, but the Noahic Empire is still his, and there's always going to be a human rebellion, so if he concerns himself over every single matter, then there'll never be an end, so just let it go. After that, Euphor stated if that's what his lord wishes for, but foolish humans, they better be grateful for his lord's generosity. Hearing this, Menes thought it seems like the threat of human extinction has passed, and why is the formal last boss saving the world? However, Euphor mentioned that if he stabbed down for the throne what he's plans for the future. Turning his head toward Makora, Menes responded that he haven't really thought about it, but all decided so far is that he's going to live a life of freedom, and questioned speaking of which how are countries' differences right now. Then Euphor responded that as usual his minions are stationed along the border on the lookout, and asked him if he plans on changing the defense system. Meanwhile, Menes contemplated that if they continue letting the 7 demon lords defend it like this, then the Noahic Empire's defense will be very solid, as he'd been protecting the empire for years, and even after stop being the emperor, the thought of it being destroyed by another kingdom so quickly and having all his hard work go to waste irks him. Further, he continued that if the people start thinking that the newly crowned emperor, Alex, has the 7 demon lords under her control, then she'll end up the same way he did. After deciding, Menes stated to Euphor that he will continue to protect the Noahic Empire's woodlands from here on out. All 7 demon lords are to refrain from any public activities. He will defend the Noahic Empire in secrecy, and unlike the past, he'll be defending from the shadow, and asked if he can do it. After hearing him, Euphor agreed with pleasure, as there is some hesitation in thinking about leaving the land that they have protected to those foolish humans, but everything as he wishes his lord. Then Menes expressed he's glad to hear that, and as for the other demon lord, he'll have to create demons to communicate with them. Then Euphor mentioned his lord, if he requires a messenger, why not link up with the 4th seat? Then Menes asked if it is 4th seat Primo. Further, Euphor stated exactly the 4th seat of the 7 demon lord of destruction. Primo, as the 2 names suggest, that she is skilled in the destruction of all things with an army under her control, so he's sure she could be of use, and above all with her skill he can easily contact 7 demon lords. Then he explained that skill allows them to build a communication network around the 4th seat. They're able to share information about national security among the other demon lords. Hearing him, Menes contemplating that is the first time he's heard of such a network, and if it's a matter of national security, shouldn't he be a part of the network too? But he's being left out. While turning around, he continued that it's not like he cares or anything. However, Euphor mentioned that in order for a person of his status to have some free time, he imagines that Menes are forced to keep a low profile and to restrain his power, and also forced into many inconvenient situations, so if this world becomes too troublesome for him, feel free to contact him anytime through the 4th seat. Further, he stated that the Lord of Tree Euphor will bring that on everything that stands in his way, because his lord is the most noble in the world, therefore, he also deserves to have the most freedom in the world. Then Euphor quotes that to live a more free and comfortable life, he could rule the world from the shadows and manipulate the world as he sees fit, so he asked Menus how does that sound as together it'll put an end to humanity's vanity and will casually bring them down the path of extinction by controlling the world from the shadow. Suddenly, Makora started moving and looking at her menus, contemplating it's about time she opened her eyes and how he's going to explain the situation. Then she started to sleep. Run, Mama, and he asked, who did she just call Mama? However, she continued that she already took care of the Trent, so don't worry and just sleep. Hearing her menus mention sleep talker and don't wake up until he destroys the evidence. Unexpectedly, Menes voiced Euphor as he said something about ruling the world from the shadow earlier, and it doesn't sound too bad. So Menes articulated that he's no longer the last boss, and there's no telling where the story of this world will lead to, as the major characters that survived in the original Noah Reese's story could end up dead or monsters, and end up taking over the world and wiping out all of humanity. but if he can operate from behind the scenes and rule the world from the shadows, then he may be able to change not just his fate, but the fate of the whole entire world, and this seems like a pretty interesting game. Further, Menace prolonged that he was wondering what to do after his slow life didn't pan out as expected, but this seems pretty fun as he's got his course of action for the future set, and all that is left is cleaning up this place. Meanwhile, Menace picked up the mushroom and Euphor asked if that is sugar mush, as it produces spores when agitated, so would he like him to take care of it. Throwing it away, Menace asserted he just thought of a great idea and questioned Euphor if he can make molly grass. Later, looking at the flower, the receptionist asserted that this year molly grass is very high quality, as this is a first for her, while thinking Makoru agreed that it's a great harvest, almost too great, but there are no traces of demons stepping on or bugs eating them, and it's like they're all fake. A receptionist mentioned that she doesn't see any abnormalities. However, Makoru asserted other than one sugar mush, there was absolutely nothing else. Then the receptionist asked Maddie-san if he saw something, but he denied that. It's just as Maikorin said, there was nothing there. Meanwhile, Menace contemplated that for the sake of his peaceful and comfortable second life, saying nothing was there is better, as he wants to avoid having this event spread to other adventurers as much as possible. This event would make him stand out in a bad way on his first day as an adventurer, so he hid his house and what remains of the T. Trent using his shadow hide skill, as he pretended that everything that happened was a hallucination caused by the sugar mush's skill, Sugar Rush, and as for the Molacraft, most of it was ruined by magic. Then they grew some new ones using Euphor's plant manipulation skill. Afterward, they returned terrain back to its original form and regulated the concentration of mana in the air, and by the time Maikorin Book of Everything had been perfectly set up to seem as if nothing happened. But while thinking, Maikoru asserted that she's pretty sure something did happen, as he just kinda suspected. Just then Menace shouted hesitantly, "What does she mean as he is innocent, and does he have any proof that he did something?" Then she stated, "Why does he sound like a criminal, as when she was being done by the sugar mush's spores, then how come he were all alive, and well, so it seems strange." Further, Makoru mentioned that he were the only one who was in hallucination. Plus, kinda cool, and immediately she shouted that last part was only in hallucination, the real him is nothing like that. Then Menace asked why is she so embarrassed and grinning about, then she shouted again, how is he avoiding everything, but suddenly the door opened and another adventurer noted that it's bad news as the Western Snell Kingdom declared war on the Noack Empire. After hearing this, Maikoru mentioned that the Snell Kingdom's border is right next door, and he's saying they are coming here. Then Menace quoted in denial, but Maikoru shouted that a simple denial isn't enough. Does he understand what situation they are in, and in between Menace thought attack from other countries are an everyday occurrence. Just then, the receptionist mentioned that the Noack Empire was mostly defended by demons Emperor Menace employed, and they must have sane know that demon Emperor Menace is dead and their country's defenses has weakened, but Maikoru asserted that they already have a new ruler, so there must be a new army as well too. And with that, the receptionist agreed, but quoted that it seems like the new ruler has her hands full governing the capital city of Gothel, so she is afraid setting up a new defense order will take time than this town. But Menace stated that he doesn't see an issue, and contemplated that the border is still being protected by the 7 demon lords, and the Snell Kingdom won't even be able to come close to the Noack Empire. Eventually, Maikoru shouted if he was listening, and what he meant, but ignoring her, he thought it's understandable that Maikorin and the others are worried. As in the game, the Revolutionary Army grew into a massive army, and after the revolution that army became responsible for the defense of the Noack Empire, and in the original story there wouldn't be any wars in the new empire, so due to cooperative relationship established with other nations. And it seems like the effects of him changing the story are showing up here too. Up until now, the balance of power between the other nations was preserved as the powerful demon Emperor Menace acted as a deterrent, but now that the demon emperor is dead, it wouldn't be strange if the world fell into an era of war, and simultaneously, if the whole and entire world started attacking each other, then the Noack Empire will not be safe, and he wouldn't be able to live a second life of freedom either. But it's a good grief, as leaving a free life seems to be quite the challenge, and it looks like he needs to start ruling the world from the shadow immediately, just as Euphor stated his lord when he stopped being emperor. It was so sad, and he couldn't understand what was going through his head. But now when he looks back at his face while on the throne and compare it to his face now. Suddenly he voiced the receptionist and asked if she knew where Snell's army is right now. Hearing first, she gets confused, but immediately mentions that they're probably already at the Scottish Plains. That Menace thought the Scottish Plains is the area where the fourth seat Primo is in charge of, as how convenient he already had plans to meet her. Unexpectedly, Maikoru shouted that it's only a matter of time before they reach this town, and they need to help evacuate the people and get out of here themselves, so Maddie, let's get going. However, Menace agreed, as he's going to swing by the Scottish Plains for a bit, and Maikoru shouted at him to wait. In the next scene, Scottish Plains, the general asked what the enemy's strength was. Then the guard responded that their numbers, strength, and they are better than them in everything, as it's a hopelessly big power gap. Then the general contemplated that the Snell, the tiny kingdom, to think they would be able to attack with such a large army. Even experienced soldiers are only around level 5, but this power, it's clear that they have many soldiers who have reached level 10, so there's no way it could have gathered that many people in such a short amount of time. So which means it must be the information about the revolution was leaked, as there was probably an informant within the revolutionary army, as the Snell kingdom must have been making preparations long before so that they could march in after the revolution. However, the attack was at least level 3, if not higher, so at this rate, the magic barrier won't be able to hold them back. Then he asked, are they able to reinforce the wall? Then the guard asserted it's no use, as the sorcerers are running out of mana, and they won't be able to take much more. Just then, he shouted, tell the lieutenant general and the main force to retreat to set up a defense in the nearby town, and the guard questioned General what about him. While taking out his sword, he responded, someone needs to draw the enemy's attention, so he will act as bait, so don't look back and just run. Afterward, while riding the horse, the general articulated that he apologized to them, as they can hate their foolish commander for only being able to come up with this plan, as his level is 21, and in terms of level alone he has the advantage, and should be able to slow them down a bit. But how long can a single man hold up an entire army, and is there no way to return the tides of war, or is there something or someone? And if it was Demon Lord Menace, then he could have easily defeated an army of this size, despite his treachery, as Emperor Menace undoubtedly the most powerful emperor in history, and only if he was still alive. Unexpectedly, someone voiced General Vagan that shall accompany him, as the more people there are, the more time they can buy, and another god asserted if the general is putting his life on the line for them, then they will put their life on the line for the general's sake, so they won't let him go alone. However, the general mentioned there's no turning back, and they shouted in acceptance. Then General Vagan shouted, let's go, those who wish to die, as Noaik Empire Margave army charge. Meanwhile, the general thought there's no point in relying on some evil dead emperor, as there are still things he can protect with his own hands and people that he must protect no matter the cost. Then he raised his sword, while asserting that his name is Vagan Zeal, so the soldiers of Snell Kingdom, if they wish to pass, they must defeat him, and shout provocation skill war cry. After that, the general articulated that the enemy will concentrate their attack on them, and if the retreating soldiers are able to fortify the town and force the enemy into a siege, then the new Empress Alexandra Sama should be able to make it here with reinforcement. Further, he prolonged that even if they can't win, they must buy time until then, even if it's one more minute or second, and along with his fellow brave soldiers he will put his life on the line. But suddenly Menace chanted level 9 Black Magic 0 spell, then the arrow which is going to hit the general disappeared, and seeing this he was shocked. On the other hand, the Snell general asked what's wrong, he should continue attacking, but the guard mentioned that his magic isn't working, and the General Vagan stated what in the world is going on, but soon they all saw someone was getting down. Then the Snell soldiers were asking who the hell is that and where did he come from. Then their general asserted that it doesn't matter, just kill the enemy. However, Menace recited skill Lamination Removal Celestial Magic Circle. Seeing this, the General Vaden thought it's impossible, as this kind of magic is only supposed to exist in mythology. Then Menace intoned level 10 Earth Magic Earth Break, and just then the ground started breaking on his one snap. After that, the guard voiced the general and asked if he was alright, and the general agreed that everyone else seemed okay too. Then another guard thought he was going to die. But as soon as he saw the scene in front of him, the general get a huge shock, and thought with just one spell, as level 5 is supposed to be the highest level of magic and level 10 magic student exist, it's as if he is God, and who was that man wearing the wood? Could it be the actually God? Meanwhile, laughing Menace asserted that with this he's finished, and asked Glacia what does she thinks, as it's a portrait of her. To prevent the enemy from advancing any further, so he used Earth Break to do some drawing, and to stop the enemy in their tracks, as it's pretty good job, if Menace do say himself, it's a masterpiece of practically and artistry. Further, he quoted that this is about as good as it gets for making shift orders, and now for their original gold meeting up with Primo. Afterwards, Vaganziel was awarded for repairing the Snell Kingdom's army with just 4 people, and honored with the title Vagan, blessed by the gods, as his name would become known throughout all of the empire, but that is a story for another time. In the next scene, Menace stated, by searching, that with no landmark around, it's pretty hard to find what he's looking for as the Scottish is vast as ever. However, he articulated that 10 years ago, a country too dear, but everything was annihilated by Primo's power, and the ruins that had escaped annihilation, and it looked like they were being swallowed by the ground because of that. People started calling it the Scottish Plain. While thinking, Menace asserted where she could be and recited magic detection, but still no hits. Then he contemplated that Primo excels in raw destructive power but lacks in magical power. Because of that, it's hard to detect her presence even with the magic detection skills. But as Euphor said, having a way to communicate with the 7 demon lords is a must from here on out. Suddenly he saw a crowd, and there the guard questioned, "What is that, a child, and what is she doing here by herself?" Eventually, the girl shouted while excusing herself that it's very dangerous, so she requested them to not cross the border. Then all the guards started pointing their bows toward her, and again she shouted if they come here, but before she could complete her word, they hit her with the bow and she fell on the ground. After that, the guard mentioned, "Target eliminated," but what was that kid doing? On the other hand, Menace articulated that at first glance, Prima seems like just a little girl. Just then, she stood up while asking why they did such terrible things to her, and the guard shouted in shock, she revived. Furthermore, Menace described that the 4th seat of the 7 demon Lord of Destruction, Primo, a proto-slime and the highest among the slime species and ruler of all slimes. As the proto-slimes are the first ever life form of this world, and they are the ancestor of all living things. Since their bodies can shape-shift whatever shape, form the desire, they can transform into it. Then she stated excitedly, "She's back," and the guard shouted, "She is a monster. And don't be afraid as it's only one person, so kill her." Afterward, Primo stated, "Don't say she didn't warn them," and started transforming herself, then killing the one who tried to attack her. Seeing this, the rest of the guards started running away, and she shouted, "Wait, why are they running?" Then just in one blow, she killed each and every guard present there. Then Menace mentioned a light of doom that disintegrates the existence of anything it touches, and it's Primo's ray of destruction as relentless as ever. Further, he continued that as long as they're not hostile, she's the friendliest among the 7 demon lords. But since Primo is a remnant of a time where they were the weakest race, she is very timid and doesn't like to fight. As a demand who loves peace, that's why anything that tries to shatter her peace, she destroys them for the sake of peace and destroy everything, hence the Lord of Destruction. Instantly, Menace voiced, "Primo, well done." But as soon as she turned toward the voice, Primo shouted, "Master Wu-chan too." Then embracing him, she quoted, "It really is Master, and it's been so long," then giggled while stating, "Smells like Master." However, he articulated that as affectionate as ever, the name Primo suggests, as she is the first demon he ever made, and they have known each other for 15 years. Then Primo responded that she felt the ground split in 2, but turns out it was Master. Suddenly she saw something and immediately apologized that the ground is a bit dirty, and she'll clean up right away. By holding her dress, Primo quoted, "Mini Primo army, come on out." After that, she commanded Mini Primos that they are in the presence of Master, so make it sparkly clean. Seeing this, Menace thought, "Corpse disposal with such a cute appearance, this is quite the surreal scene." Eventually, Primo questioned, "What brings you here today, as it's rare for Master to visit her out?" So Menace responded that he's no longer emperor and decided to travel somewhere with her, and she asked in pure shock, "What did he just?" Cutting her word, Menace asserted he quit being the emperor and thought, in you, she'd react like this, same as Euphor. Instantly, Primo responded that she doesn't believe that what's going on as Master wouldn't give up the throne that easily. So he quoted, "That just felt like being emperor was too much trouble," as he also happened to find a replacement and thought he could just live a free life from here on out. But then Primo asserted when he said travel together, does he mean she gets to be under Master's care and she's so happy? Then Menace mentioned to wait, has the message not come as Euphor should have already contacted her about this, that he heard the 7 demon lords have a way of communicating with each other. Moreover, Primo nervously responded about up the incoming call from Euphor, she muted it. So he asserted while understanding how she felt, but stated her not to bully him. And Primo shouted, she wasn't, as there is no bullying among the 7 demon lord. However, Menace stated, unmute everyone, including Euphor, then share this info with everyone else, that he've stopped being emperor. From here on out, continue to defend, but from the shadows send that to them. Also, he knows there would be some of them who would misunderstand and inadvertently destroy the human race. After that, she voiced, Mini Primo, come here. But as soon as she held it, it was trying to release while stating, don't eat her, and Primo mentioned, not today she won't. Hearing her, Menace thought she usually does eat them. Moreover, Primo noted that she wants her to let all the other demon lords know that Master has stopped being emperor but continued their defense operation covertly. Then she happily stated, done. Then confusingly, Menace questioned if she just contacted them. While agreeing, she explained that the mini primos all share the same sense. So with this, anything he says to them will be transmitted to the mini primos moves with the other demon lords. After hearing, he responded that it's very convenient. Suddenly the mini primos started moving, and she stated, look like someone responded right away. Then Minnie shouted, fourth seat. Why did she ignore his call? And she mentioned that it's from Euphor. But again he shouted, can she hear him, fourth seat? Before he could say anything more, she crushed the mini primo. Eventually she responded, that's how they keep in touch, and Menace stated, like that convenient in more than one sense. Then Primo questioned that she gets to travel with Master from now on, and he approved. Then again she asked that she get to be under Master care, and he agreed to her. Further, Menace questioned, is that all she wanted to say? And she asserted, that's not it, as she was wondering how they are going to defend this area because recently, Snell, their kingdom's attacks, have been pretty persistent, and Master did make quite a few cliffs, so even with her gone for a while, they should be fine. Then he articulated that he has turned all borders with neighboring countries, including Snell, into sheer cliffs, but left major roads alone, so if an enemy still has the intent to invade, they'll still invade no matter how long it takes. However, he doesn't think the Snell Kingdom is much of a major threat, but it seems like a major threat to the new Noack Empire led by Alex, so there is a chance they won't be able to repel an invasion. And if he doesn't change the difficulty of the event, then everything will be immediately wiped out, and that protagonist really has him running around in a circle. After that, Menace assured her not to worry about this area's defenses, and she agreed. While climbing Glacia, Primo questioned, what are they going to do now? Then he responded, isn't it obvious that it's time to show their cheeky neighbors that it's game over for them? In the next scene in the Snell Kingdom, the man asserted his majesty. Everything went better than expected. Then the king quoted Hemat, the revolutionary army, saying that he never expected them to be able to defeat Demon Lord Menace, as this is what he called a pleasant miscalculation, and never thought he'd see so much return on such a small investment. Further, the man stated that this is the perfect opportunity to make the Noack Empire theirs, but the king mentioned an agreement that was his plan. Money is power, and with money, they can hire soldiers. With soldiers, they can collect tax. With that money, they can hire more soldiers and crush the other kingdom. After that, he stood up while asserting that money is power, justice, and with all his money, he has no need to fear any other kingdom. And after his hand gets on the Noack Empire, the first thing to do is squeeze them dry with taxes, then upgrade his castle with that money. However, the man quoted his majesty he has to feed such ignorant people every once in a while, or they'll start to complain. Then he responded what he is talking about, and if they just say it's the Noack Empire's fault again, then they'll be none the wiser and don't have the brain nor the brawn to oppose him. Hearing him, the man quoted that things would be messy if someone was listening in on them. And the king asserted that someone is listening in on them, but suddenly they heard someone laugh, and they questioned what was that and where that voice came from. Then someone responded from outside that taking money from innocent people just to line their own pockets, he'll let its light, but to blame it on the Noack Empire is unacceptable. Eventually, the king questioned who he was. Then he responded that the Phantom Thief Nemesis has arrived, and the man asked what is Phantom Thief, and how is he floating. Then the king questioned what does he want from them. Hearing their questions, Menace responded, isn't that obvious, as there's only one reason why Phantom Thief would show up, because they have treasure, and from what he heard there's a lot of gold stashed away in this castle. However, he articulated that the Snell Kingdom and Rhesus Noah, as they supported the revolutionary army and pretended to be a side character on the side of justice, but the truth is he's nothing more than a money-loving scoundrel. So usually something this small can be left alone with no problem, but the fact he's willing to use the Noack Empire for money really bugs him, and picking a fight with them is the same as speaking of a fight with him. Then he shouted to prevent them from ever doing evil again. He will be taking these castle treasures, and making them suffer until they weep, but suddenly the king rang the bell while asserting that he's just some cat burglar trying to intimidate him, but they have high-level gods set up just for emergency. After the guard entered, he shouted, "Kill that thief," and they immediately attacked Menace. Then he intoned level 8 Black Magic 0 spell, and their all attack went in vain. Seeing this, the man quoted the magic just disappeared, and the king shouted it's impossible what he did. Then Menace responded how unfortunate for them as magic doesn't work on phantom thieves. Then the king questioned whether phantom thieves are that powerful, and even though he has a strange skill, they have surrounded him as he won't be able to break through alone. Just then Menace mentioned when did he ever say he was alone, and then he shouted, "What the heck is this?" His castle and guard voiced His Majesty they have an issue as a mysterious maid attacked the castle gates, and the wall were disintegrated, and the treasure vault has been destroyed. On the other hand, Primo chuckled, while mentioning that the castle gate breaking treasure room and smashing left the demolition to her. After entering his room, Primo quoted, "The mask-made thief has arrived." Seeing her, the king shouted in shock that another creep has arrived. Then Primo stated to the master that she took everything that was inside the treasure vault and couldn't carry the big ones, so she ate them. Hearing her, the king questioned everything inside the treasure room she meant in that bag. Then he shouted while pulling his treasure, "Give it back. Why is she taking his money as other kingdom are doing the same thing she wants? Why not steal from them?" Eventually, the king stated her to wait as recently, even in the Noack Empire, someone to class gold coin from the tragedy without permission, and the double agent in the Revolutionary Army told him so it has to be true as there's a guy spending government money without permission, so it's not just him, and he's not at fault. Hearing him, Menace quoted that such a sore loser straightened himself out and quit framing the Noack Empire. Then he contemplated about it when he stopped being emperor and took few coins from the castle to fund his journey, but turns out those coins weren't small change and were worth a lot, and is the person who took the large coin without permission for personal use is him. Listening this, Primo was about to question that master did he actually, but cutting her word, Menace stated that he's just borrowing them and was going to make sure to return them later. Meanwhile, holding the treasure clothes, the king shouted his gold, "Give it back." Then Menace questioned if he really wants them to return it that badly, and the king agreed that all of it is his. Then Menace quoted that he'll return it to him, however it will be returned to its original owner. After that, Primo started swing the treasure and throw it in the town. Then Menace quoted, "Money is power." He's absolutely right, as without money he can't hire soldiers. Without soldier he can't collect taxes or wage war, and a lord without power loses their hold over the people. And tonight this country's power balance has been reversed, so it's game over with this, the greedy Snell Kingdom. In the next scene, after moving away from the Snell Kingdom, Primo mentioned that being a phantom thief is so much fun as she wants to do it again sometime. Then Menace agreed that it's fun. She gets to be a thief. She mentioned, by the way, she has a question. What even is a phantom thief? However, Menace responded that, to be honest, he's not really sure either. He contemplated that he saw it in a movie in his dream, but she stated all that matters is that it's cool. Then he responded, even if she does uncool things, make sure she herself isn't cool, as that's a policy he lives by. She responded, as long as master had fun, she's happy. Doing these kinds of things brings back memories. Hearing her, Menace gets confused. Then she explained, remember when he was still a child, Yu-Fer-san and Fio-chan, Ali-chan too, as they often pretended that they were heroes of justice. Eventually, Menace remembered doing that when he was younger, just before becoming emperor. When he was about 9 years old, they'd run around town together, stealthily helping people from the shadows, think of operation names, and do silly things as they would play if they were the heroes of justice. However, Menace prolonged that there was a phase when he yearned for something like that. Even though there is no human more unfit for the world justice than him, when he was a child, things like justice, kindness, and hope he loved. Things related to righteousness, as he wanted to become just like the kind-hearted protagonists from the fairy tale, and wanted to become a kind-hearted emperor. But things change, anything and everything. Thanks for watching it, guys. Smash that subscribe button like it's your morning alarm clock.